In this video, traders, we're going to look at 6 reasons why backtesting is a total waste of time. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. So backtesting, 6 reasons why it is a complete waste of time. I just want to point out, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not a big advocate of backtesting myself. I prefer to do forward testing and test my ideas and hypotheses running forward. However, I know people who like backtesting, they consider it good, and if it works for them, that's fine. I'm never ever going to go against someone else's strategy if it's working for them. I'm just putting out some ideas and some reasons why backtesting could be a total waste of time for you. So something to think about, and also comments in the comment section below. I guess we're going to light the kind of fuse with this one. Number 1, not many pros do it. If you look at typical hedge funds, I'm not talking about hedge funds that are running algos and what have you. I'm talking about traditional hedge funds out there that are managing funds based on theses and ideas. They are not backtesting in the sense that we would do as retail traders. They have all the processing power available to them. They have all the tools, all the information, and very rarely do they make a decision on when to pull the trigger based on a backtest. They make a decision based on to pull the trigger on the conditions they see now, based potentially on how they would expect the market to react with the current environment we're in. Which brings me very nicely onto 2, and let's meld them into 1 here. Market conditions constantly change. The reasons why the market goes up today could have been the reasons that it went down 5 years ago. You can see environments where some people say, hey, interest rate being high is positive, interest rates being high is negative. People's perceptions change, and so not only do we have all the variables that are affecting your trade and your backtesting results changing on a day-to-day basis, the participants are changing, the environment's changing, the technology is changing, what's driving the market is changing, so much stuff is changing. So it's almost like if you were watching a football game, right? You're watching a football game, you're watching England play, you're a manager of an England team, you're playing the World Cup, and you're watching a match of the Brazilian team who you're playing from 80 years ago. Okay, you're watching something from so many years ago which hasn't got the same players in it, it hasn't got the same conditions, it doesn't make any sense, right? But why are you doing that? So there's an argument to say that it's just almost useless because the conditions change. So what worked then is not going to work now. I'd imagine that some of the strategies that worked well for Jesse Livermore back in the 30s are not going to work today, just because we've got algos, we've got different volatility, we've got different components of the S&P, loads of things have changed. So that's why many of the pros in the hedge funds, the discretionary funds, the big funds out there don't do it. Okay, there are some algo run funds, there are some kind of HFTs and stuff, and maybe they do a bit of backtesting, but the majority of pros don't do it. And the big thing is because the market conditions constantly change, so they're making their decisions based on current conditions. Okay, number 3, data is only part of the battle to success. Having a profitable strategy is arguably the easy part. There are loads of profitable strategies out there, and if you're subscribed to the channel, we've shared a lot on this channel. We talked about strategies that work very, very well over time. It's only part of the battle. It's the discipline. It's executing the strategy. And I know argument that says, well, if you're backtesting, it means you're going to be using an algo, you're going to be using a robot. Sure, but you still have to have human intervention as to when you're going to utilize that strategy, when you're going to pull it, when you're going to allocate more capital to it, when you're going to add different strategies into that. So there's still whatever it comes down. So even if you're removing a lot of human parts of it, and I'm an advocate of doing that in some respects with filtering and screening and presenting ideas to you, but at some point you have to use your own mental discipline, your own mental kind of judgment. It's exactly the same. If you're manually trading, discretionary trading, and you've got to draw down in your account, that's exactly the same feeling you've got to draw down in your account as if you're systematically trading with a robot. You're still were there, and now you're here, and you're still going to feel the pain of that if you're in that kind of place. So it's only part of the battle in my opinion, or in the opinion of someone who was anti-backtesting. All right, number 4, it's very time consuming. Now, obviously, if you want to get good at something, you've got to put the hours in. But there is an argument to say, why waste all this time trying to come up with a system, with a strategy that works, all backtesting that suddenly comes up and is profitable, when in reality that time could be spent testing your ideas in the current market conditions. Hey, how is that strategy working right now? It's working great. Let me utilize it until it doesn't stop working. Where's my risk management if it stops working? Perhaps you get a head start and you'll miss the whole juicy part of the market if you're wasting time back testing. You're spending all the time, many months and many quarters kind of coming up with an idea that actually becomes obsolete and is not very useful anyway. So something to think about there. Number 5, results can be interpreted differently. So you've got a back test, you say, hey, look at this, I've got this strategy that was profitable over a 10-year back test period. Right, so you could look at those results and present it in that light. Someone else could look at it and say, yeah, okay, but the last 2 years, it's had a negative performance. So I could argue, maybe it's not working now. Maybe it's the start of a cycle of it not working. The fact that it worked for the last 8 years, fine. Or maybe it had one good year and had did for all those years, whatever it may be. But the point is now I could say, well, maybe it stopped working now. Or are you prepared to sit through 2 years of drawdown before you start again? And also, where, if you started that system, would it have still been profitable? Now, if you find a system that's consistently making money all the time, again, you could argue, well, how long is that going to happen for? How far back have you gone? The point is, whichever data point you take, you get different results. Let's say we stick to that 10-year analogy and it's made money over the 10 years. Let's say we started it in year 3 instead of year 0, year 1, how the results differ. If they differ dramatically, then the argument could be, well, if you start trading it with real money now, over a 10-year, 11-year period, 12-year period, it might look profitable. Because you've started it at the wrong point, it could still be a losing strategy, just like the stock market. The stock market has gone up over history of time, but if you put all your money in at the top of a bull market run at the beginning of a bear market and you took it out the bottom of the bear market, you've lost money, regardless of how far you go back. So the point is you can interpret data differently depending on what you're trying to find. And there's also an argument to say that, hey, the further you go back, the more useless it is. Whereas a lot of back testers say want to see how far it can go back and still be profitable. For me, and my argument would be, well, you know what, if I got something that's worked very consistently for the past quarter, I'm all in on that because that's the market conditions. It's shown proof in this current market. It's working very, very nicely. Others might go, well, that's nowhere near enough data. And you can see where the difference lies. There's an argument to and there's an argument for. So that's something to bear in mind. And the last one, guys, is you get a false sense of security. The problem, I think, or argument to be made for backtesting being a waste of time is this. You get a false sense of security. You go in there thinking, I've got a winning strategy. I've proven it. The data has shown it. And maybe the data has shown it as such. And you've got the data there, you've got your Excel file, your printout, and it says, hypothetically speaking, you'd have made this, even with your commissions, your spreads, all the kind of stuff that people put in and give you that number. And so you trade it expecting it to win. However, as we said before, it could draw down for a quarter, it could draw down for a year. Are you prepared to sit through that? Are you prepared to keep plugging away at the system relentlessly? And even if you do for 2 years, what's to say the system doesn't stop working after 2 years? It's a very difficult way to trade. It gives you that false sense of security. You kind of think you've got the holy grail here, you're plugging away at it, and at some point it might dawn on you this is not right, and you've maybe risked a lot of capital, lost a lot of money doing something that isn't really conducive to longer term success. On the flip side, possibly you get your sense of security from understanding market conditions change, being able to read the market conditions and adapt on the fly and really kind of get into the current situation we're in, the current variables, the current market inputs, whether you're trading crude oil, whether you're trading DAX, whether you're trading individual stocks, and being confident that you can adjust to suit the conditions, whatever is thrown at you. So there are 6 reasons why backtesting could be a waste of time. I know I've got some viewers who are really into backtesting, some viewers who are against backtesting. Which side are you on? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Maybe we can do another video later on saying 6 reasons why backtesting is the best thing since sliced bread. So stick your reasons in the comment section below. Much appreciated, guys. Thanks for viewing. Give it a thumbs up if you like this kind of stuff, and if you are a backtester, I'm sure you'll give it a thumbs down. But that's cool. We've got to make a market. Everyone's got different views and opinions. Let's see. We're all about becoming better traders at the end of the day, and if we can open our eyes to different strategies and different ways of looking at things, it can only be a good thing. Take care, guys. Appreciate your support if you're a subscriber. Bye bye.